Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Kurt Fisnick, and we're getting the call started here. This is the Sizzle Doctor Clinic call. We do this every Tuesday, 11 o'clock Central Time, my time, noon Eastern, and whatever time it works out to in your part of the world. But, you know, I'm always excited about doing this call. I try to make sure that I'm here. I know sometimes things come up in life, and I'm not able to get here. But, you know, it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun being able to share information with people. And you know, I got into healthcare not because I thought it was a great way to make a lot of money. I think sometimes people think they go to school to be a doctor and they think that it's because they can make a ton of money. But really, bottom line is that you go into the health fields, the healing fields, because you like people, you like working with people, you like sharing information with them and really helping them get healthier. And I always tell the story in my clinic. You know, in 2004, I was selected as one of America's top 100 chiropractors, but you know, I can tell you, I wasn't one of the wealthy ones, and that's because, you know, I always tried to make my services affordable for people. I did different things like I would have people come and mow my lawn if they couldn't afford to pay the bill. I had one lady that would come in and she'd make me a pan of lasagna every time she came in, and that's how she paid for her treatment. And you know, and that's what I did. I tried to make everything work that way, and we work with people. We make sure that we take care of people. And so 11 years ago when I got in my motorcycle wreck, I didn't really realize how much network marketing really was about helping people. I always, you know, thought that it was about selling products and signing people up for something. And that's, you know, and that's because I think, in a way, the people who had tried to prospect me in the past, that's how they presented it to me. They presented it as a business where you sign people up and you sell products. And what I've learned is that it's a business about helping people. And so today we have a special guest. We have my friend Mary Ann from out in Pennsylvania, and Mary Ann has a story. I'm sure it's real similar to mine, that you know, she got into the field of helping people. So Mary Ann, welcome to the call.
Thank you, Dr. Kurt Fisnick, for having me on the call. Andrea, it was such a pleasure meeting you. And Doc, did we just have a great time over the weekend?
It was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Awesome.
Yeah.
It was. And I think it was just reconnecting again with the friends that we have made. We're like one big family. We're just like one big family. And that's what I love about Sizzle. And it goes from the whole way up to Tom Mowers to, we had a person with us that is not even partnered up with Sizzle, and she said it's amazing. It's just one big family.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, and I liked how Pat Garrett at the end on Saturday night, he was going around and he was getting everybody to say, you know, to record, "This is my mission too." And I thought about that, and I thought, you know, because all day Saturday, everybody talked about the Maurer mission. And then when Pat came around and had us all record that, hey, this is my mission too, I thought, you know what? It really is. The Maurer mission is my mission too. And if we can get other people to understand that, I think it's really good, isn't it?
It is. And you're going to hear yet in my story why the Maurer mission is so dear to my heart. You know, the Maurer mission to me is what everybody's looking for, and they have no idea. And to the new people on the call, I want to welcome you to this call. And to the people that have been maybe partnered up with Sizzle or have been using the Sizzle products for a while, I want to speak to your hearts as well, because I understand where you're at every step of the way. And then to you, Dr. Kurt Fisnick, I think you're a 4-star with Sizzle. You've been with Sizzle for quite a few years, and you know, I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. But anyway, you know, my story with Sizzle started in 2012. I am 48 years old. My husband is 52. We have 3 boys. They are 20, 25, and 28 years old. And in, you know, we're Amish. We live here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we're people just like everybody else. We have, you know, we care. We're the same type of people. We're all human beings. We want to be loved. We want to be understood. And we care. We care about people. We also want to make a difference. But I'm going to share a little bit. My story goes a little bit further back than when we started with Sizzle. My grandparents worked in the health and nutrition field for over 50 years. My grandmother was a visionary. And although we had lived 150 miles away from my grandparents, I sort of grew up with it. You know, my grandmother, she was a reflexologist and massage therapist, and my mother and 5 of my aunts are in that same field. But in 2010, Kurt, we moved closer to my grandmother, and we just moved maybe about 6 miles down the road from her. She was at 87 years old at the time. Right now she's 94. My grandfather passed away back in 1997, I think it was, that my grandfather passed away. But anyway, working with my grandmother, I started working there in her store and in her practice. She had a health food store, and she had many people calling from all over the place. My grandmother has helped thousands of people in her life. I have people coming up and saying, you know, your grandmother changed my life or helped save my life. They loved God. They loved nature. They loved people, and they loved helping people. But isn't that what we all love, Kurt?
Right.
If we really, truly ask, isn't that what everybody wants? But anyway, what I saw in the 3.5 years working there, the first year I was just learning a lot of things that grandmother was passing on. She had worked with doctors, with scientists, with some of the top research doctors in the Philadelphia Children's Hospital. She had their phone number, and so she had learned a lot of things. What I learned in the first year was kind of the things that my grandmother would do and suggest to support the body and just working with her. But the second year, one of the things that I saw and that I noticed is that there are so many people struggling with chronic fatigue, with hormonal issues, with infertility, autoimmune disorders. Lyme's disease was coming up, Doc. Mental disorders, depression, anxiety. And it seemed that people just kept coming back. And my question was, why? Why can't we help these people? But even more, why are so many people struggling? And that's, you know, wherever you are in life, ask yourself, why am I struggling? What got me here? And that was my question, not what can we give these people, but how did these people get here? Because I truly believe that if we find the root, we can create stepping stones to the solution. And I believe, and this is a strong belief that I have, Dr. Kurt, and to everybody else that is out there, and I want you to really think about this. I believe that every man and woman wants what is best for themselves, for their children, and for their unborn babies, don't we?
That's right.
We care about the food we eat, the water we drink, the environment that we live in. If we care so much, and this was my question, if we want what's best for our families, then why are so many people struggling? If we all try to do the best, why are so many people struggling, Doc? Why, Doc?
Exactly.
You know, that was my question.
Yeah. And what'd you come up with an answer?
Well, my mission was to find that root. And, you know, seek and you shall find, and knock and doors shall be opened. And that whole summer, as I was searching, and I would go to the library. I didn't have a computer. I would go to the library and I would research. I would try to find answers for these people. And that's when DW called me and he goes, Marianne, I would like for you to take a look at Sizzle. And I said, you know, I'm really not interested, D. I had understood network marketing. I'd met D in a prior company way back in the 1900s, D, or Doc.
In the
And
1900s.
so I said, way back in the 1900s, yes. And so I said, I understood network marketing. I loved the concept, but I was really looking for serious answers, and I didn't think that I would find it in any network marketing company. So I actually said no 3 times. And then finally Dee called me back, and he says, Marianne, would you just please do your research? Because you have no idea what you have your hands on.
Yeah, and
So,
did you find, what got you to actually look?
well, it's when DW said to me, would you do your research? I said, all right. I said, what do you have for autoimmune disorders that has helped support Lyme's disease, that has helped people with hormonal issues and infertility? And he said, yeah, he said, we have had people getting help with all those things. And I said, all right. I said, send me all the research, send me all the science. I said, I don't want, and Doc, this is funny. First he started telling me about all the testimonies, and I said, I don't want to hear testimonies. Every company has them. Although testimonies are important, to me, I needed more than that. I needed to know the science. Not everybody's going to be that way, and I want to speak to the new people on the call here. I've learned that I can trust Sizzle because Sizzle does all the science. They work in and with scientists, and Tom Maris himself is a biochemist. I've learned to trust, but at that time I didn't know that yet, and I didn't trust. And so I searched for about 2 months. I didn't want to be pestered. I searched and I listened, and at that very same time I was working with a close friend and somebody that had come to us while I was working at my grandmother's practice there. Her husband had a mental disorder, and he had been doing very well, worked mostly with health and nutrition. He was on a low grade of medication, and he was crashing again. And if we can all, and sometime, Doc, we want to have Mary Zook share her story on your call, because it is absolutely incredible. If you guys can just visualize, and I'm sure that some of you have been in this very same situation, where you can see your family sitting at the table, 5 children sitting at the table, and you, the wife or the spouse, and your loved one is sinking deeper and deeper into a hole, and you don't know what to do. And then you're given a prescription medication where the #1 side effect is suicide. And you understand your spouse, but you don't know where else to go. And she kept coming back and saying, Marianne, we need more. What we're doing isn't working. And, you know, I searched the books, and we gave this supplement and that, all these things that were supposed to help with a condition that he was on. And about that time, Daniel Wade had called me again, and he goes, Marianne, this was now about a month and a half into researching and studying, and he goes, Marianne, Tom's going to have a call on the brain vitality. Would you hop on, please, and just listen? So I did. And the words that Tom, I remember to this day, this was 5.5 years ago now, but I remember to this day, Doc, I have a brother who's schizophrenic. And I remember to this day how he talked about the ingredients and how they support. He said, based on the science behind these ingredients, it supports Alzheimer's, it supports dementia. It is shown by science, the ingredients is shown by science to reverse dementia, to stop the damage of schizophrenia, to help those that are struggling with mental disorders. And you know, Doc, I've also learned, you know how women, you know, that we get ladies on the call, unless it's just us here in Pennsylvania, you know, we go into another room and we want to get something, and we're in there and like, oh, what do I want? What did I come in here for? I'm telling you, it helps with that too. And then men, you guys open up the refrigerator and you go, where's the ketchup? And it's right in front of you. Ladies, it works for the men too, Doc, seriously. So the brain vitality is absolutely amazing. But at that time, it was life. It was a life, serious life issue for this family. And when I listened to this, and I knew that Tom Maris was going to be up in Massachusetts, and I was reading the research and watching and listening, and I finally said to my husband, I said, I have to meet this man. I have to meet the owner. I have to know, is he a man of integrity or is he a man that is just in it for the money? I said, will I have your blessings to go to Massachusetts? We lived in Pennsylvania, so it was 7.5 hours. To go to Massachusetts for one evening presentation. It was a 2.5-hour presentation. And he said, yes, you may. So we got a driver. We have a horse and buggy, so we don't drive. We got a driver, and I went. I had another friend who was struggling with mental disorders who went with me, and we went. And there was a blizzard. All the roads were closed. They were open the day before we left, but we went because I needed to know. There was a stronger force behind this, Doc. I believe that the time had come, that God was opening doors for me on what I was searching for. So we went up and we went to Massachusetts, and Tom was speaking, and I was extremely skeptical. I was not interested in a network marketing company. I was there to listen. I was there to learn, but I was also skeptical. However, the story that I heard that night completely changed our life. The story that Tom Mowers brought out was not, he didn't share about all these fantastic, top of the line, the best products, but he shared his mission. Now, remember what I had said, that I believe that every man and woman wants what is best for themselves, for their children, and their unborn babies. But why are so many people struggling? Well, the Maurer mission, Doc, I believe, is the answer to so many of those issues. What I learned that night is it's not always what can I take, but maybe it's just what can I change. All of us, we brush our teeth. We use mouthwash. We do our laundry. We wear clothes. We do all these things. We shampoo, we bathe. We do all these things. But what is in the ingredients in those products that we are using? And as Tom was going through this, Doc, I remember so well, as I was sitting there, and my heart was just filled with, oh my word, is this why so many people are struggling? Is this what is hurting our young girls? Is this what is hurting our young boys? Is this why we do not have the strong young leadership in men anymore? And as I heard the story of toxic chemicals and how it can affect our hormonal system, what is that? What is our hormonal system? It is what is it, Doc? You share with me. Share with us. What is our hormonal system? Why do these chemicals affect us so much?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Doc.
Well, and the hormones, like we all know, I mean, they're kind of I'm going to say it's like if we're looking at our body as being a computer and trying to simplify this for everybody, the hormones are really, they're the messengers that go around and tell the different organs, we need some more of this, we need some more of that. So think of it like if you're in an office setting, if you're working in an office, and the hormones are the messengers. So you have different little messengers, like one message might run down to the accounting department. You might have another messenger that runs over to the supply department. You might have another messenger that runs down to the maintenance department. So that's really what hormones are, is that they're really those messengers. And so like what Marianne is saying is that she was looking at this and she was trying to figure out what's screwing up the messengers in your body, what's making the messengers so they send the wrong message. And that's really what I was looking at the same time. So I'll send it back to you, Marianne.
And that puts it very clearly. Thanks, Doc, for just bringing that point out. And so as I'm sitting there listening to Doc, and then he's talking about, now remember, I was working with a lot of people that were struggling with chronic fatigue. We didn't have the AGE then. We didn't have the inner chi for her. We had the triangle, we had the brain vitality, we didn't even have the coffee. So now my next question was, I'm understanding the mission. I'm getting that. And I'm understanding that we want to avoid toxic chemicals. But now I'm looking at the nutritional line, and I didn't like juices. But Tom was sharing something, and if you can just kind of think about this, Tom was sharing all these things, and I saw his heart, I saw his passion, I saw that he's a man of integrity, I saw that this is not just a hype, but that he's sincere, that he's real, and that he truly, truly cares. So after the meeting, and I was listening to every word. I was just kind of alone. Nobody talked me into going there. Nobody was there trying to influence me. But I want to learn every word that this man was, or hear every word that this man was saying. And as I was listening and standing there beside him, there was probably about 60 people in the room. And I waited as he was answering their questions, and I was in awe. I was in awe, but I was still a little skeptical. And so when he was done and people were starting to clear out, I said, Tom, I still have a question. He said, go ahead. And I said, can we sit down? He said, sure. And Tom had never met an Amish woman before, and I didn't care that I'm this little Amish lady, and he's this, multimillionaire scientist. I didn't care. I wanted to know. So I said, I still have a lot of questions on your products here. I said, these juices. And he looked at me and he said, Marianne, he said, they are not juices. And I looked at him like, okay, I mean, it looks like a juice, sounds like a juice, smells like a juice, right, Doc? And he said, they are, and get this, guys, they are extracts of the nutrients of the fruits that are in there. He laid it out in simple terms so that I could understand them. And the Spectrumax, I said, okay, so what's the difference between this and maybe the muscadine grape that's out there? And he said, Marianne, he said, muscadine grape is only one chain of antioxidants. This is all of them. This covers your whole body. This covers your whole body with the extracts of the nutrients. Think of a whole, just a whole huge table that is loaded with fruits and vegetables of every kind and every color. And then they take them and they take away all the sugars, the pulps, and they just have the extracts of the nutrients put into a bottle that we can take in 3/4 ounce. And as he was speaking, I started to open up my mind and understand these are not just juices. And then I told him about the story of my friend whose husband is breaking down with a mental crash again. He sent somebody 20 miles to pick up the bottle of Brain Vitality, and he sent home a bottle of Eternity and Fuquidin. Eternity of Fuquidin and the Brain Vitality. And Doc, we have to have her share her story. But what I say yet is after, as I was talking to Tom, he said to me, he said, Marianne, he said, trust me. Take these products back, share them, and trust me. And so we came back and we started sharing the mission. Wherever we went, Doc, we started with Taste and Talks. And the first night that we came back, and I just said, my message was that I sent out to people was, did you realize that there are toxic chemicals in our everyday products that could be hurting us and our children and our unborn babies? And I said, we wonder, why are so many people sick? Well, there's things that we don't realize. Come and listen. Come and hear the message that I'm learning about this man out in Utah who has been spreading this mission for over 30 years. And people came. People wanted to hear. Then when we sat there and we shared the mission, they asked, well, does he have anything that could help me with my arthritis? Does he have anything that could help me with my chronic fatigue? And that's how we started, Doc.
There you go. There you go. Well, Marianne, as you've done this, I mean, and for some people here, I'm just going to say this, Marianne, how many people do you feel now within your organization that are taking the products now? I mean, how far has it spread from that first day, not that many years ago? How far and wide has it spread for you?
There's over 1,000.
Over 1,000 people.
There's over 1,000 people in our organization that are taking the products.
Yeah.
And 5.5 years ago, and I want to share this with each and every one. I want to share this from my heart. When I came back from Massachusetts that night, I was not looking. I was not even interested in the money part. I didn't even want to learn about that because I did not believe that we would ever be able to make money with this. What I saw when I was up there, and this is emotional to me. What I saw when I was up there is that these chemical toxins are hurting our young children. If you do a little bit of research and do a little bit of study, all you need to do, think about your mouth. Your mouth is the gateway to your body. And if I'm using toothpaste that has toxic chemicals, that has sodium lauryl sulfate, propylene glycol, and I know a lot of doctors and dentists want you to use fluoride. I'm not going to tell you not to, but what I'm going to tell you to do is please do your research, because fluoride is scientifically connected to ADD, ADHD, and brain dysfunction. And if I can find something that will help my children in their teeth that does not have fluoride, and it's what's interesting is we have taken the toothpaste and the mouthwash. Some of our team have taken that to their dentist and they look at it and they see the ingredient. They go, oh, you have this in it. You have this. You're okay. So this is good. Tom knows what he's doing. He's a scientist. He's a biochemist. He's not just a man slapping ingredients together to make money. And so as we share the stories in very simple form, there's another thing. The girl that used to work for me for over 5 years, an amazing young girl, 21 years old now, she went on to teach for special ed, which was a small school that had special needs children. And growing up or growing into the mission here working with me, her interest was what caused these children's abnormalities. And the one child, there was no diagnosis. But there was one thing that they knew. The mother had had a lot of dental work done while she was pregnant with this child, Doc. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that is what caused his abnormalities. But if we question and we connect the dots, the dots will give you clues.
Right.
And so that is the mission. That's the mission that we share. So if you just change your toothpaste and your mouthwash, and then we have a sheet, 40 different uses of the Terminator. I came back and my teammate, she's one of our rising stars. She just hit 3-star. She had a bumblebee had flown into the sleeve of her dress, down into her armpits, and right beside her bra strap, had stung her 5 times. They were camping. And she's like, what can I use? She had her Terminator. She poured it down her arms, and that her dress and everything was saturated with the Terminator. The burn, the sting, the pain went away immediately.
Wow.
We had people that have used the Terminator for thrush in a baby's mouth, have put it on cotton balls and used it in babies' eyes when they had pasty eyes. They had put a tiny drop into the ear, just a tiny, tiny drop into the ear to help when there was an earache or an infection. They have put it on cuts. We have one of our 4-stars, Linda Esch, who was at the Mara Mountain. Her mother is certified in helping with the burns and burn treatment. She uses the Eternity immediately after a burn. She uses, not the Eternity, the Terminator. She'll spray everything with the Terminator because your dead flesh will create a bacteria. So she'll sprays everything with the Terminator, and then she will spray it with the Eternity to help with support the healing before they wrap it up with whatever they wrap it up with to help with the burn. And they are having incredible treatment, incredible success. Then they take the Eternity, the AGE, and the Ripped is what they were taking, and the healing is incredible for 2nd, 3rd degree burns.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And back to the story yet. I don't know what time it is. Somebody had come, and so I just kind of disappeared. My husband took care of them. So I didn't finish the story yet. So we brought the brain vitality back for Mary and her husband. And I'm going to just share a short glimpse on this of the brain vitality. Someday you want to have her share her story on here, Doc, because it's incredible. She's reached out to hundreds of people, from little babies that are struggling, to young children that are struggling, to adults, to daddies and mamas that are struggling with mental disorders or struggling mentally. But we brought the brain vitality back, and the eternity and the fucoid, we only had those 3. Her husband was to the point now where he was existing in his own shell. He wouldn't talk or acknowledge the children, or barely even talk to her. So she gave him, and she's just an amazing woman. She has a way to lead, but yet have her husband feel like he's the head of the house. She's just an amazing leader. She's an amazing mama and an incredible wife. But she started with the brain vitality and the eternity and the fucoid, and she knew she had to keep it simple. So she gave it to him in the morning and in the evening whenever he sat down to eat. And I called her the second week. I said, "What are you seeing?" She said, "I'm not ready to talk about it yet." The next week, the third week, she said, I'm seeing a sparkle go back in his eyes, that spark of life. The fourth week, he would start to ask questions. The fifth week, he started being a daddy again. And as time went on, 5.5 years ago, has it always been easy for them? No, it hasn't. Life has its ups and downs. But since the AGE and the RIP came out, and with what we already had, he's come an amazing, amazing way. It's just incredible. But I'll have her share her story. I don't want to steal her thunder.
Perfect. Well, thank you. And we are at the bottom of the hour here. And so Mary, what an amazing story. I took some notes as you were talking. The one thing that I really got, the big message that I thought was, it's not what can you take, but what can you change. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to steal that from you. Not what I can take, but what can I change. And when people start understanding that, they can really make a big difference. And some other things that you pointed out was, really so many people, they don't really understand science, and I know you do, but a lot of people, they don't understand science. So what happens is that they can get kind of this analysis paralysis. They don't do anything. They won't take it because they're unsure. And so I liked what you said, where you said, trust the science. And, and I liked what you said that, and we have to remember this. And I know on Saturday, everybody that spoke about products on Saturday up at Mauer Mountain, they said, don't use the word cure, don't use the word treat. But when we look at the products, when we look at any nutrition product, even if it's not from Sizzle, but if you look at nutrition products, if they're made properly, they support the body's own system. And so I really like what you said, and it gets it so that people start. Oh, hang on one second. Stick around for just one more minute. Okay. To where they're the passion comes through, and you understand that it's a passion, it's not hype. So Marianne, thanks for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and I hope that if I can help one more person to trust. And I could sit here for another half hour, and I could list story after story after story after story. And I just want to share this. If one person changed their shampoo and their shampoo and their sinuses cleared up. Another mama, there was a 3-month-old baby who had a rash, who had acid reflux. All she did was change her laundry detergent. That's it. And the rash cleared up, the acid reflux cleared up, the baby was a complete different baby. We had one person just change mouthwash and toothpaste, and the mouth ulcers disappeared. We had one person just use, all they used was the Terminator. He had polyps in his nose, going down in his nose, and he had to have surgeries. All he did was use the Terminator in a neti pot up into his nose, and the polyp disappeared. So I can share many, many stories just on the chemical-free line. That is without all of the others, Doc. So God bless you. Guys, learn about the mission. Reach out, embrace it, and make it your mission to share that mission, not just the Maurer mission, but what the dangers of toxic and chemicals are. Understand that this is simple. This is simple. Everybody wants what we have. Understand it. Not all the products, but the mission, and share that. Back to you. God bless.
All right. Thanks, Marianne. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. And for those of you listening to the recording, like Marianne said, share this with everybody. Get this message out. Make it your mission. Make it your mission, too. And all of a sudden, you're going to find some amazing things happening in your life. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
God bless.
Bye.